Broadcasting live from a little hole in the wall, it's the G&J Radio Show with your hosts, Garrett Vassell and Josh West.
All right. Well, here we go. Take two, I guess. I'm Garrett Vassell alongside Josh West, and we have special guest Christopher McMurray. Chris, it's good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad to be here.
Good to see you, man. First, we're going to start off with a little NBA news. Josh, what's your take on the Memphis Grizzlies Toronto Raptors trade?
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking, what are the Grizzlies doing trading Rudy Gay? It's one of their main pieces, but it's a lot of salary they just cut there. He had a huge contract, got rid of it. Picked up a couple solid players, Jose Calderon, and not that they needed a backup point guard, but they got one for Graves Vasquez now, and they got a nice little big man in Ed Davis. So all in all, I think both teams won on it.
Actually, Jose Calderon got dealt to. It's a three-team deal. Jose Calderon went to Detroit.
Oh,
yeah. So that's pretty big news. But
I would not want to be going to Detroit this year. Pistons are not very good.
Yeah. Well, hey, with a guy like Jose Calderon, he really gives you a chance.
Yeah. Hey, hot shooter.
But we're moving on a little bit tonight. The big topic is the best wide receiver in the NFL of all time. Who is it? Is it Randy Moss, who he claims it is? Is it Jerry Rice, who everyone else claims it is?
Not even a question.
Not a question. Chris, what's your take on it?
Well, I'd take Rice. Anytime anyone's won 4 Super Bowls and Moss has won none,
True.
Along with many other receivers, it's hard to really argue how anyone could be better than Jerry Rice.
True, but it's at the same time, I mean, the guy played for a dynasty. The guy played – it's not just Jerry Rice making plays out there. It took 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks alongside him.
And Joe Montana's the better of the two, correct?
I would agree with that.
I would agree too.
More Super Bowl, if we're going with the more
Rice's
Super Bowls.
numbers were better with Young, who won 1 Super Bowl with them.
Well, I mean,
and who's to say that Rice didn't make these quarterbacks who they are, or at least help along the way?
That is very good point. That is, I mean, I don't think they put up the same numbers.
I saw 1 year Moss made Brady look great, but a lot of that had to do with Welker, and who can forget about Belichick?
I tend to agree with you there, Chris. Jerry Rice, if you just look at the numbers, there's no one even close to him. In his longevity, he played for 20 years at a pretty high level. I know when he went to Oakland, he wasn't Jerry Rice.
You should never go to Oakland.
Yeah, that's kind of
where careers go to die.
Yeah, Al Davis just kind of killed him.
Moss might be the biggest example of that.
Yeah, Moss tried it too, and it didn't work for him either. But if you just look at it, Moss really hasn't been a factor in the past 3-4 years. Went to Tennessee, got cut from Tennessee. You get cut from Tennessee, you're at the tail end of your career. Oakland wasn't very good.
He got cut with the Vikings, didn't he?
Tried to go back to the Vikings, got cut.
And Favre wanted him there. That's tough to do.
Okay, I know, but for the sake of the argument, I mean, Randy Moss is, 6'4", 6'5", ran a 4.25 at the Combine.
Hey,
if you're picking Sandlot football, who do you pick? Do you pick 6'tall, 4.7 speed Jerry Rice, or do you pick 6'4", 4.25 speed Randy Moss? In their primes, which receiver do you pick, Chris?
Well, I still go Rice. If we're playing Sandlot football, yeah, I'll go Moss. We're going to the fields, and we're going to say, I got this kid, let's put up points. It's a passing league, we got to face it. Rice did it when it wasn't a passing league.
That's true, with Shula, the West Coast offense.
Oh, yeah. No, it was Walsh.
Oh, Walsh, that's right.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I almost would take T.O. over Moss in a lot of sense. If you put their
physical attributes.
Yeah, everything next to each other, and you don't put together how they acted on a football field and in the locker room, Owens is just as good as Moss.
Skill-wise.
In every way, numbers-wise too. And he had a bigger route tree. Moss goes deep, you know about it. Once you figure it out, you got it.
Well, the thing with Moss is that if we're going by the most feared receiver ever to play a game in their primes, you got to go with Moss there. That's the argument for him. He changed defenses from doing a single safety to doing cover 2, dropping 3 back, 4 back, and he still made plays. The argument comes up. He only would really run on 1 route out of 3. But man, that one route,
he ran it to perfection.
Yeah, he did. He's the best at doing that route.
He most feared in their primes. Moss definitely. Career, just looking at careers, definitely Rice. And West Coast offense that they had, they kind of in San Francisco, they kind of revolutionized the game. But he really helped in that. He revolutionized the wide receiver position, and it's not like the 49ers are throwing the ball 500 times a year like you see now. Rice had 1 year where one of his quarterbacks threw over 500 attempts, and that was with Montana. He threw 520. You look at Brady; he's gone over 550 6 times in his career, and the season that Moss put up 23 touchdowns,
Beat the record.
he threw 548 attempts.
I know, but the 1 year he had a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing to him, he broke the
Oh, that
single
wasn't
season.
only 1 year.
Yeah,
no,
he
he was with it for a couple of years.
Now, to be fair,
That year-
1 year he was
I mean-
there. Brady tore his ACL, so
Yeah, and that hurt too. The consistency of longevity of time, it was not there. It was not what Rice had.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not,
dedicated.
I'm not arguing stats-wise and over career-wise. Obviously, the
He's
numbers
just more
are
of a
there.
physical
That,
specimen.
yeah, obviously the numbers are there that, yes, Jerry Rice is the better receiver from a statistical standpoint and, longevity. But at the top of their game, I mean, I would take Randy Moss at the top of his game over Jerry Rice. However, if I'm drafting a team, you got to pick Jerry Rice because the work ethic.
okay.
You know what you're getting out of Randy Moss. You know you're not
Yeah.
going to get someone that's going to work too hard. You know you're going to get someone that's going to show up to the
There
field
might be a
and
few
be awesome.
people then I'd take over Rice if we're doing it from that, the top of their game, like Andre Johnson. I mean, Isaac Bruce, Marvin Harrison, has
Calvin
143 reception season.
That's true. So there's something to be said about guys in their prime.
Yeah.
But the thing with Moss is he really benefited in New England by having a second guy that they could throw
Welker.
to.
One guy. Okay, that was like
But Brady...
But he
Brady-
did all the things that Rice. It was like Rice was a mixture of Welker and Moss.
Yeah.
Running every route, doing all those things those two did together. You know
that's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah, no, I mean he worked a lot
Yeah.
harder. He didn't have the speed, so he had to do other things. And
He had the football speed. He just didn't have the combine speed.
Yeah. Right, exactly. He didn't have the
4.7 140 is
Yeah,
not gonna
whatever.
make you look at your piece of paper and just wow you. But he knows how to get open. He knows how to catch the ball.
He knows the game, and
No.
he has more endurance than any other
his
player.
career. His numbers speak for themselves. He is, for his career, the best player of all time. But in a given season, at the top of their game, I would take Randy Moss. I think that's the logical. Not the logical.
If I had one season, and I had them at their primes, I'd probably take Moss over Jerry Rice. One season, and as long as I have a second receiver that I can throw to. But if Rice is the only guy I got to throw to, he's going to get open. He's going to catch the ball. The GOAT. You got to throw it to him.
Yeah.
You got to take him. And postseason wise, he's got 22 career postseason touchdowns receiving. That's 10 more than any other receiver. You know who's second on the list? Dante Stallworth. And then Randy Moss.
He killed a guy too.
Dante Stallworth is a murderer, and he's still somehow playing in the NFL. I don't know if he's actually playing, but he was on the Patriots roster for a little bit this season.
So when you talk about taking Randy in his prime over Jerry's prime, are you taking New England Randy or are you taking young Minnesota Randy?
I'm taking young Minnesota Randy. I'm
Okay,
taking.
I would too.
Yeah.
So still, even
He
with
made
those
Dante Culpepper
numbers-
relevant.
Yep, exactly. That's the
Dante
biggest
Culpepper
argument
left
I would ever
and-
have for Randy.
Where did he go? All they needed was
exactly.
Dante Culpepper was like the early version of Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
With a little bit more of
Speaking of
a head
Jamarcus
on the
Russell,
shoulder.
Hey, playing defensive tackle. No, I'm just kidding. He's the size of one though. At
Yeah,
308
320
pounds.
pounds, whatever he's at. But
So, I mean, I'm a fan of Jamarcus. I hope he does well. I hope he comes back and tears it up.
yeah, I'd love to see him not on that top 10 bust list they have on NFL Network a couple years from now. Let's see if he can revive his career somewhere.
I just want to know, how do you miss something like that? I mean, how do you, as
Al
a
Davis.
scout,
As a scout,
but not just
I think in Oakland,
You listen to
it's
Mike
Al
Mayock.
Davis is
and who would have told you?
the
He
Be all
missed
is
it.
all.
Davis will take any combine buster.
Yeah.
There is somebody.
true. Darius
any
Hayward
physical
Bay.
specimen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell.
a bunch of just no-name guys who do well at
Everyone,
the combine.
DeMarcus Van Dyke. I'm just trying to think of the fast guys they've taken in the past years, but they look at speed, and they're not looking at football call. I mean,
Think the Cowboys will pick up
that's a
Jamarcus?
discussion for the other day,
You
for
think-
another day, Garrett.
another
but
day.
Think the Cowboys will make a move for Jamarcus?
I would hope not. I would hope the Cowboys.
You don't think Jerry will?
channel is in Al Davis.
No, I don't think he'll channel his inner Al Davis. I think he'll go with the formula he's been going with. People give him crap, but we've had good drafts the past couple of years. We've missed on a couple things, but I think right now we're heading on the right path as long as we keep Romo.
See, I
I'm
definitely
with you
agree
there,
with you.
yeah. Okay,
I hate
thank
the
you.
Romo haters. I think the Cowboys wouldn't be where they are without Romo.
They won't.
And
They wouldn't
Romo
be.
is a serviceable quarterback. He's not great, but he's good.
He's better than a lot of other quarterbacks, and
they
every
could
other
do
team
worse.
would be happy to have him if they don't
Yeah.
have an elite guy right now.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a step below elite, would you say?
I think he might be a couple steps below.
Well,
below elite.
it's different these days. People have a hard time understanding what elite
They
is.
throw that word out there.
It's
pretty,
not. And
pretty
same
easily.
with Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, Hall of Fame, almost anyone can get in these days, I feel like.
Chris Carter, he's up.
Chris
last
Carter
year.
should be there, and so should Andre Reed. While we're on the wide receiver subject, I think that he is definitely worthy.
I mean,
but-
Chris Carter practically groomed Randy Moss.
He
to what
did.
He is,
Oh, yeah,
and
he did.
Randy Moss is
And
arguably
he
the
was
second best
a lot
receiver.
more crafty than Randy Moss
Yeah,
ever
he
was.
didn't- he didn't have- he
He
didn't
has the
have-
best hand. He probably had better hands than Jerry Rice. Honestly, if you talk to if you talk to coaches will say the best hands they ever saw was Chris Carter. He had his issues in his early years, but
Hey, if we're living in a what-if world and Randy Moss and Chris Carter got to play with Joe Montana and Steve Young, this conversation might be totally different. But
A what-if world,
that's
yeah.
why we don't live in what-ifs, and that's why
Exactly.
things happen for a reason. And
well, the Cowboys should have drafted Randy. That's why we went and got Dez.
So many teams.
We missed on
He
missed
went
on
what?
Jerry.
He went what? 21st.
21st
overall?
I'm not sure, but he was.
He was late.
He
wasn't,
dropped. They thought he'd go higher.
for a guy being a top 5 of all time
Yeah.
for his position, and
He's
him
from
to
Marshall.
drop that far. Well, originally he got a scholarship to Notre Dame.
Oh, originally, hey.
Hey,
But,
could have been.
here
He
we
actually
go.
enrolled all that and ran out for marijuana charges, and that's it.
there's a thing to say about risks, and if you're a risk that scares a lot of teams, and some teams will go and roll the dice, like Oakland or Cincinnati. And
Like
look at Cincinnati
like
now.
the Cowboys.
They've rolled the dice a couple times, and they've got a decent squad.
No, they're gonna be tough. for the
They've
next
won a couple
years.
gambles, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
I think Dez is going to be awesome.
I think he's on the right track.
if he keeps his head on
He
straight,
looks.
Stops hitting his
The
mom.
game looked easy for him. We saw a different Dez. The
He
last
was
half of the year,
definitely a
it
man
looked
amongst
easy
boys.
for him. Yes,
and that's
very. He keeps his head on straight. We have something there. We just need to.
Back to
Romo helps him though.
back to Randy Rice.
okay. I just want
Randy
to
versus Rice.
Randy
Volume
Rice.
1.
I just want to throw just the pure stats out, career
We love
stats.
stats. No
for,
numbers here.
Your stats guy,
for,
Josh.
for
your stats
Jerry
guy.
Rice. Jerry Rice career numbers: receptions 1,549 career receptions, 22,795 receiving yards, 197 receiving touchdowns, 22 postseason touchdowns, and 22 playoff TDs, along with 13 Pro Bowls. And those are all
Major.
those are
all records.
Those are all
Yeah.
records. He holds all those. Now you go to Randy Moss and you have 982 receptions, 15,000 receiving yards, 156 receiving touchdowns, 10 postseason touchdowns, and 6 Pro Bowls.
We'll see how long Randy plays. I mean, Jerry played till he was 42, so
Because
Randy's
Jerry
only.
could.
Yeah.
Randy Moss can't.
Randy Moss is getting back in shape. I mean,
He's great for these receivers right now. Nothing from this argument. We know he's an amazing receiver.
yeah, no. I
Yeah.
mean,
But I think the argument's more who's better between him and T.O. I don't think there's any argument here between him and Rice.
I agree.
I think it's all who's going to be under Rice. I think Rice is already he's way ahead of the group, whatever. He's separated himself.
Yeah, I mean,
for a while.
everybody always said that the Rice, his records are untouchable.
Yeah.
And I mean,
for good reason. For
It
good
will
reason.
be.
they
It might be different now.
the only guy that I think can go and get him right now,
Calvin
Johnson, Megatron. But we don't know. Jury's still out. He stays healthy.
Yeah, he's
he'll
gotta
do
stay
it
healthy.
if he stays healthy. But that's a big if. I know he hasn't had any injury problems before, but you never know.
And quarterback
Things
play.
happen.
and he survived the Madden curse.
That's
so
true. And he
Cross
put
our
up
fingers.
huge numbers. If he can continue that, which it looks like he can, because I would throw that ball up to him.
Do you think Adrian Peterson rushes for more yards next year?
No, I don't think.
No, I don't.
I think he hovers
gets
around it.
1,700. He still has a great year.
Yeah,
It's
but
gonna be different though. Harvin will be healthy all year.
I don't know if
keep
he's
him.
I don't know if he's peak. He's peaked, but he's gonna stay at his peak for a while. He's gonna be hitting those numbers for 3 or 4 more years.
How old is he,
And
what,
then they're gonna
27?
start,
Yeah, I think so.
declining a
26,
little bit
27.
as he gets older. But that just happens to running backs when you get the ball, 30 times a game. So
Do you think he's going to be the best running back of all time? Do you think he's going to break Emmett's record? Emmett's not the
he'll
best
come.
wide receiver or the best running back of all time, though, is he?
No, if I had to choose one, I'd say Walter Payton. But he's going to come pretty damn
Sweetness.
close to to get into Emmett's record, he'll be top 10 for